Up to about the basically the 25th when this was written. The code official put in about 20 hours. The plan reviewer had 20 hours, and then the contract plan reviewer had 32 hours, or a total of 72 hours. Once we're up and running, the estimate is about 10 to 11,000 a month with the same level of permit review that we're doing now. On top of that, for the last 5 weeks of service from our contract inspector, we're at about $6,000, $6,100.
So right now, what those terms are about equivalent to what it would cost to staff those positions?
Right, and we're running about
equivalent.
yeah.
Are we committed under this to a certain number of those hours, or are they just going to bill us actual hours what's done, and there's no minimum nor maximum?
It's basically as needed.
Okay.
So if they work less, we pay less, if they work more, we pay more.
What's the plan after the end of this term? So beginning April 1st, what's the plan for taking care of these?
The plan is we do have 2 code inspectors out for basically receiving applications for. That would be a staff out there. We may need to have some contact with the county for some assistance. And at that point, we'll bring another agreement back to you.
Ray, how long have those positions been posted?
Were posted about 2.5 weeks. They closed last week, and I'm in the process of reviewing all the applications. Right
Did we
now.
have a good reply? Okay, great. Those are the questions I had.
Dave, it's my understanding when the county took this over, there was a backlog, somewhat backlog of work. So are the hours and the costs that you identified, are those normalized, so going forward, or does that include the hours that they spent cleaning up that backlog?
Well, the hours to date are cleaning up the backlog, and we're just, I think, Jerry submitted, he was thinking of, between 100 to 120 hours a month is what he was basing his estimate on.
Okay.
And we are starting to see an increase in activity
Right.
in addition to the backlog, so we will meet that review. And I've had very positive feedback regarding the services being provided, so.
There's a learning curve being turned.
Yes, there is. And so, yeah, they've been very responsive and
Well, very, very fortunate the county was available to help us. They run a good shop, and then the contract inspector that we were able to secure is excellent. I worked with him many years ago. He's formerly in the Olathe.
they retired from the late.
Yes, he's very, very good.
So is that $73 per hour, is that accounts for multiple people?
That's
That's 3 people?
Yeah, that's anybody they charge the $73 rate. So whether it be the code official, the reviewer, or the contract reviewer, it's $73.
But that's per person,
Per
per man hour?
Per man, yes.
The only thing that I'd like to point out, we, a lot of times our fees, we just got through debating those fees for reinspection and things like that, they're in the, like $20, $25 amount, which seems grossly inadequate when you consider that the people that we employ to do that same work are, we're only charging people a third of what the county's charging, so.
Well, that's only from a permitting perspective, though. Isn't there other fees involved, and excise taxes and other things that cover some of those costs?
I know, but, you go send an inspector out to look at a job for a, plan review, whatever, and, or just a, codes inspection, certainly you're spending more than 1 hour at this time. And if they can get $73 per hour, per man hour, and oftentimes it takes 3 people, to accomplish that job, sometimes maybe at least 2 simultaneously, I gotta believe, at some point. Seems like we're underpricing our services.
But then that's offset, I'm sorry, I don't have the numbers to tell you what an average like residential house permit fee would be for just the inspection and the plan review portion, or like a commercial permit. But those, for some of those could be rather sizable. I'd have to supply that to you later.
Right, but I mean, you get, those are like 8 or 9 inspections that you might pay thousands of dollars for, right? I mean, when you pull a permit, that basically buys a certain number of inspections.
So that is correct, we get certain inspections, and as I say,
But I guess thousands of dollars, I'm saying on things where we change, we replat a lot, or a development or a lot, it seems like we're getting like 25. I mean, I'm speaking off the cuff here, but as I recall, I brought it up during that meeting, and I said, why are we even bothering, well, I mean, actually, I don't mean that we should charge at all. I mean, we should raise it substantially to meet our real costs.
One of the issues with fees and inspection fees and so on is we are charging developers, but typically the developers are paying that as part of that permitting process. Our fees are also for homeowners who are putting in a deck, replacing a deck, doing a fence, all those things that go on, which is, it's a service of the city, and granted, there should be some fee for that, but I don't know that we necessarily would want to attempt to recoup our total cost for those. I think we just had commentary regarding our the way the outside world looks at us with regard to permits and so on, and you look at our cost to develop and our competitive position within the metro area, all of those things need to be taken into consideration when setting fees and setting the cost of developing gardens. So, I think this particular item is really separate from the fee discussion. We're not taking action on fees this evening, taken action already. It's whether or not we want to use these services to supplement until we get full-time staff. I guess the other point regarding the cost, when we bring someone on, it's a fully burdened FTE, and this is salary only. There's no, as I understand, this is what we would pay. This is what we paid in salaries for that department, and does not include the fully burdened costs with benefits and so on.
Right, and this is probably, this is basically, this is a flat fee per hour.
Right.
And it doesn't take into account whatever the particular employee's actual cost plus benefits would be.
That's 35% on top of an $18 an hour.
I think most of these people are going to be considerably more than that.
How much are we talking?
Now we're talking professionals, and we're probably talking in the 30 range at least, or the 40 range.
Even the codes inspectors are.
Well, the code inspector, no, I'm talking about the engineer and the
Right, but
planning.
they don't discern between the $73 per hour,
It's
with an
basically
$18
per
an hour guy or a $50 an hour guy.
Yeah, it's just kind of a group.
So Dave, without going into details, because I know you're not prepared, and neither am I, quite frankly, but when he caught us up, he probably created quite a bit of revenue that was languishing to begin with.
Well, when we looked at the year-end, several permits that we had that came in that were well over, probably 30 days behind, we finished the year with substantially more in terms of revenue and permits than last year this time.
So the investment of $73 an hour to get caught up was positive for the city.
Well, the investment to get caught up, plus the level of customer service and some of the frustration that the building community experienced during that time frame of the city not being able to respond to their needs. When we brought the fee schedule to council, we had a discussion about the cost of the permit and being able to determine if we're recovering that money. You need a cost recovery study to determine that. I can tell you from some of the fees, for example, we charge $25 for a zoning letter. There's absolutely no way we can get a zoning letter done for $25. By the time the receptionist takes it in and pass it back to a planner, and have a planner take a look at the map and write a letter, we're well over the $25. So the city's made a decision through the fee schedule that's been adopted for years that they're not going to recover that cost. So, no, we're not recovering that cost. Even with restaffing, we won't cover that cost.
But in that sense, we're more than business friendly.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We're bending over backwards.
We're providing rezoning that go through planning board to to council, site plan approvals, we absolutely are not covering those